A cryptic message scrawled on forgotten walls. A book you don't quite understand. A recording you don't remember taping. You have found the Phenomenauts Podcast. Hello, you Stardust-made organically fueled think machines. You have tuned into the Phenomenauts Podcast, a weekly show where we look at the weird, wonderful and mysterious happenstances of our and occasionally other universes. Taking you on this ride is myself, D Barnes, and the ever-awesome
Amber Hall.
We are a multi-platform podcast, so find us on YouTube, the new channel, the Phenomenauts Podcast. We'll still post the old one for a little bit longer, but do remember to change over. What we got? We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and Transistor, so please do remember to like, follow, share, subscribe, download, all that awesome stuff. It really helps us out.
Taking the world by storm.
Whew, did not breathe enough between those lines.
Getting a riggy buzz off the intro.
Amber, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going quite well. I'm looking forward to some things coming up. I've got a gig lined up at the weekend, and then about a month from now I've got another gig, and then I'm going on holiday.
Ooh.
So yeah,
Lot going on.
Wait, what?
Lot going on.
Lot going on.
Sounds good.
Oh yes. How about yourself?
Yeah, just wheels keep on turning. Just keeping on going. I mean, I'm about to start third year of uni again, so there is just that looming. And
I'm sorry to have brought that up, D. That must have been painful. Let's just get on with it.
Look, I don't have a ton planned in the future.
Well, you know what? University brings all kinds of adventures.
Plenty of things will come up.
Yeah.
Should we crack on?
Oh, yes.
Okay, then. I will go first.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did mention this before we started recording, so I don't know why I was like, oop.
We're trying to make it seem like we're coming up with it on the spot, but really it's all rehearsed. Even this bit is rehearsed. It's written down perfectly on a script over there. It's not really.
No, it isn't. It really isn't. I couldn't plan for this. So this week, for you fine folks, I've actually got a natural phenomenon. Just a regular old phenomenon.
A regular old phenomenon, as opposed to a irregular new phenomenon.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is, I guess, maybe what I'm going to be talking about.
Ooh. Well, this week I'm going to talk about the Christmas Island red crabs, who are also found on the Cocos (Kneeling Islands). Keeling Islands.
The Keeling Islands.
Yes. Now, for those watching, there'll probably be an image now. And for those listening, I'll just do a little description. You can see like an area of land near a road, and some of the road, and it is literally covered in these red crabs. And I'm not just mean a couple. I mean, you can barely see the ground or the pavement or anything. Yeah,
I think I know the one, like these crazy like influx of crabs.
Like they are all over the place. Like you would struggle to walk through this area.
Wow.
It's absolutely mad. And yeah, these pinchy little folks come out there in their millions. That's right, I said millions.
Millions of pinchy folks.
Actually millions of them. Doing a mad dash from the forest to the ocean.
Oh, I'd like to think that like it goes really quiet and then they're like, something's wrong. And then you just hear, charge! And all these little pinchy folks come running out.
I suppose in a way, sort of, yeah. Because I will do a bit of explanation on, why and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they do a mad dash from the forest to the ocean, and who could blame them? Ocean.
Crabs love the ocean.
But it's actually for one really important reason. They do it to breed.
They do the ocean?
No, they go to the ocean to breed.
What are they doing in the jungle forest?
They just live in the forest.
I always thought crabs had to live in water.
Well, there is water in the forest.
No, I suppose.
But yeah, the minute the first rainfall of the wet season hits, they're off like a shot. Normally it takes a week to get to the ocean.
They just get hit with one raindrop.
Just kind of, yes, though. Ocean. Kind of, yeah.
Oh, that's me when it starts raining. I haven't got my umbrella. Just make a beeline for inside.
Yeah, well, this timing is actually determined by the lunar cycle, which they just know about. They just know about the lunar cycle. That's just cool.
Stargazers, are they?
Yeah. Well, they spawn specifically before dawn on a receding high tide during the last quarter of the moon.
Oh, so they have a very specific time.
It's a very specific window.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. And basically, if it turns out that the first rainfall of the wet season is too late, then some will just stay in their burrows and wait.
Oh.
They'll wait for the next month.
So they just go, oh, what? Didn't sync up, guys.
They've got to get there in time, basically.
Like you said, stars. Can't do it. Not today.
Well, the migration itself is actually one of the biggest tourist attractions, but does serve a vital role on the island. Dr. Peter Green, who has been studying the ecosystems of the Christmas Islands, Christmas Island since 1989, and is quoted with saying, "They're a crucial part of the ecology. They keep the understory open by eating seeds and seedlings. They clean up leaf litter on the forest floor, and they keep the population of invasive species like the giant African land snail in check."
What? I mean, like, why would you want to invade Crab Town? Pinchy folks. I'm going to be a snail. You know, I'm just made out of goo, and I just got these dudes just grabbing at me.
Just made out of goo.
Just made out of goo, those snails. I like that. You know, if you're like, well, they actually serve a really important purpose. This professor, he actually loves crabs, so he just eats them all.
Oh my god.
He's a very hungry man.
Yeah. Now, to protect these little shelly friends, they occasionally have to close roads in, some parts, sometimes the entire road, on really short notice.
Oh yeah, because you're driving along, all of a sudden, just the floodgates open.
I mean, I'm really not kidding. We're talking millions of crabs, just all migrating in a very specific window of time.
Yeah, because you see the crabs when they all shed their shells, when they in the ocean.
Yeah,
and it's just the floor is crab skeletons. Yeah. With crabs crawling over. You literally can't see the floor. It's like meters of just crab bodies.
Yeah,
absolutely bonkers.
Crab graveyard.
But
yeah, so they just come rushing through millions and millions of crabs. I think I do remember reading that the males go first. And
whoa! What happened to ladies first? Some crabs, these pinchy folks, are rude.
Yeah,
they know nothing of etiquette.
Proper etiquette, yeah. But yeah, that is the Christmas Island red crabs.
I like so. There's the Christmas Island crabs, then there's the Easter Island heads. We can have like the New Year's Island parakeets. What else have we got? The summer solstice palm trees. Come on, help me out, Eddie.
Yes, the equinox rabbits.
I like that one. My birthday fox. Okay, no, fuck's my birthday.
Yes, my wedding owl. I love my wedding owl.
The Hanukkah starship.
Oh, Lord.
No, I don't think that one exists, that last one. But the rest do.
So
the wedding owl.
When on Christmas Island, watch your step. Especially if it's the start of wet season.
That is typical that they're red as well. Do you reckon people go and put little hats on them?
Oh,
little festive critters.
Oh,
little Seacrits.
Yeah, I also remember reading that they're a little bit under threat as well by another type of insect or something small. Yeah, they're actually trying to do a rescue. Basically, they're trying to look into this invasive species. I can't remember the exact specifics.
Was it like an ant, like bullet ant?
Yes, it is a small. I think it is a type of ant, actually.
Right. Yeah, because they're crazy little. Tiny
there is something that's causing them a lot of issues. That's causing their population to actually suffer a bit of a decline. Which is a real shame, really. But there are people on the case, it seems.
Yeah. Well, it's very, very strange. Life has weird ways of getting itself together. Yeah. Which is a nice segue into my section, I think.
Oh. Unintentional segues.
You've got an good old natural phenomenon. I've got a new and irregular phenomenon.
Ooh, I'm interested.
D, are there aliens living among us? Or could it be that we are descended from aliens?
Okay. Okay.
I'll just let that one hang there for a little bit.
All right.
Bit of a weird question, but so there's some recent studies. Right, here we go. So some recent studies date the emergence of complex retroviruses.
Mm-hmm.
So retroviruses are made up of RNA. So when you got DNA in your cells,
Yeah.
for them to actually make things happen outside, they create RNA that's it's almost like a little message that's the opposite of the DNA sequence. Floats off to where it needs to go in the cell, and on the other end, it'll like copy out that DNA sequence.
Okay.
And there you go. You've taken one page of your instruction booklet and you've handed it to some machinery so that it can read it and then do something.
That's a really good metaphor.
Retroviruses are made of RNA, so they simply can't function unless they slap onto something and then get to transcribe their own DNA.
Okay.
So recent studies have dated the emergence of these retroviruses that affect vertebrate lines at or just before the Cambrian explosion 500 million years ago.
Oh.
So the Cambrian explosion was when there was like single-celled organisms, simple life. There wasn't really anything crazy going on as we know it today. And then all of a sudden, just boom, it just blew up like out of nowhere. It just diversified into all these crazy different things.
Mm-hmm.
Fish, invertebrates, plants.
Yeah.
Just like everything all evolved around about the same time in this, and that's what they call it, the explosion. Diversity exploded. So such viruses are thought to be associated with genomic evolution. So they're actually involved in the mechanisms by which organisms evolve, because they splice into DNA and they do all that kind of stuff. So Steele et al. Posit that this isn't just a coincidence, but that the Cambrian explosion coincides with a bombardment of alien virus-bearing comets, panspermia. There is a study that says that the Cambrian explosion was because alien DNA was like on comets.
That's
or like inside
absolutely wild.
And landed and then chucked out DNA, like fully formed chunks of like functional genes and stuff that had evolved elsewhere, and it then got integrated into the life here, and that's
so
why
cool.
That's why it went.
I really like that.
So I'll try and explain a little bit more, because this paper was just list as long as my arm of all these different. They really had to back up what they were saying, because what they're saying is we are aliens.
Yeah, it's a bold claim, isn't it?
It's a bold move. So in the 2018 paper that I've centered my section on for this episode is called "Cause of Cambrian Explosion: Terrestrial or Cosmic."
Ooh.
I like that title. So they discuss the possibility of panspermia, and also what they refer to as the remarkable evolution of intelligent complexity in the octopus. So they specifically single out the octopus. So I'll get to that, because basically I went, octopus? What's going on with those guys? What's going on? And then I found this paper. Really cool.
All right.
So, panspermia first. They suggest that since we have found evidence of life on Earth, even way back to around 4.1 billion years ago, so this was just after the planet was able to actually harbour life, as in it stopped being made of magma and it actually became solid. So, like, immediately as it turned into, heat and, it had an atmosphere and there was water, and there was actually conditions that could harbour life instead of an oven, immediately we have evidence of life being there, almost immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
So where did that come from? What's going on there? So that was one of the main things that they were driving there. So they're saying there's no way that it evolved here because there wasn't enough time. And
it's kind of like the missing piece of the puzzle, really.
Yeah, just why did we have life so quickly?
Yeah, how did it come about so fast? And the answer
it wouldn't have had chance to come from nothing and become as complex as it was in that amount of time. There was
just simply not enough time.
They say it must have landed here already preformed, having come from somewhere where it was a lot more stable conditions. It's had a lot longer.
This is very cool, Amber.
As in, the conditions on Earth were too hot for even organic molecules to form, let alone complex organic life to thrive and evolve. So, if you get melted by magma, you don't get a chance to evolve, you don't get a chance to develop. Yet, it just seemed to happen immediately.
No, you get melted by magma.
Yeah, that's generally what happens when you're in magma. Really, no one chilling out in there. Chilling, very strong word there. So, bottom line, they say that these 4.1 billion year old fossils that we found were left there following a life-ridden comet or meteorite impact, wherein the cells were carbonized instantly. So they were like, they hit and they were immediately just turned directly into a fossil.
Okay.
So that would mean that there were multiple impacts in the past. And the oldest fossils that we can find weren't indicative of life being on the planet. They were simply life that landed and was fossilized immediately. But then more impacts later seeded the planet with more complex molecules.
This is very, very cool.
I like panspermia. It's very cool.
This is very cool.
So, fossils, check. But some life might have survived the many impacts all those years ago, and life on Earth was seeded. So, it's just the idea that you can't just make it from nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you can make life from nothing, but it just takes so long in such specific conditions that maybe it arose somewhere else.
Yeah.
But there's also another competing theory, which I'll get into later, which, I love it. So they even go on to suggest that one of the main driving factors in evolution is what is called Lamarckism, effectively epigenetics or soft inheritance. So instead of there's a mutation in my sperm cell or egg cell, and then that is passed on to my children. Instead, it is, well, I haven't used that gene for my entire life. So my body just kind of has wrapped it up and tucked it away because it's like, well, don't use that. So that doesn't get passed on to your children. Or if you use a gene all the time, like people who live in the Himalayas, they have to express certain proteins more to be able to breathe in the thinner air. And over a couple of generations, the children just have different DNA because they have trouble now breathing at sea level. Because not just that their body's adapted, but it's literally evolved to be up there within a few generations.
Wow.
So we're talking single generation evolution, basically. You adapt, and then the sperm that you create or the eggs that you create literally have different DNA in them. So epigenetics is absolutely crazy.
Very interesting.
And I could go into epigenetics another time, but for now, effectively, the DNA associated with traits can be dropped if they're not being used, so they're not passed on to the offspring. And this process, they postulate, can be mediated by retroviruses because they're the ones who hijack your DNA. They're the ones that get into your body. So, like if you have, I think it's herpes or like HIV, it splices its DNA into your DNA. So you can't get rid of it. So it can flare up again. So that's why, like, say with herpes, you can just like get a cold sore because it's just in you now. So if you reach the right conditions, that the virus goes, right, I want to have another go at you. Then it comes out, and then you have to, look after yourself, and then it goes away again. But it's just in you forever. Once it's put that DNA in you, you have it now. So basically, it's really horrible because with something like HIV, it's just, well, I've had viral DNA put into me, and now it's in me. And that's it. And you produce it. Crazy. So, trivia time. 1 to 1.5% of your DNA codes for things like proteins and molecules and stuff. Fats, your skin, the elastin, and the enamel in your teeth. 1 to 1.5% of your entire genome actually does something. 8% is retroviral DNA. You are more virus than you are what you are.
That's a spooky thought.
Yeah, because from all the times in the past that your ancestors, a virus has chucked its DNA in there, and then your body hasn't been able to tell the difference, so it just passes it on to the next generation. Then they get a virus, they get some DNA, passed on to the next generation. You are more virus than you are meat and bone and skin and all that. Crazy. So, this immediately makes me think of the protomolecule from The Expanse.
Oh my god, I know about The Expanse. I got that reference.
if anyone watches that, basically just, there's a molecule and it will literally splice your DNA and it will do stuff. It'll make you evolve, basically. And that's what they're saying that retroviruses are.
Okay.
And they arrived at the time that they say it was seeded there. Seeded there.
Oh.
Maybe it was put there on purpose. I don't know. Nice little conspiracy to think about there. But the thing, the thing is that retroviruses evolved at the same time as their vertebrate hosts during the Cambrian explosion, if not slightly before. So as retroviruses mediate the transfer of genetic material and, if we entertain that they are alien in origin, further evolved than the life that they met on Earth. So they arrived having more complex DNA than what was already on Earth. So the horizontal gene transfer, the life on Earth, took in DNA that was more complex than it was and gained traits that had been evolved over billions of years somewhere else. And then we're able to just explode into a variety of different organisms.
It's absolutely fascinating.
So that's the idea. So yeah, they had more advanced DNA, they inserted it into primitive Earth life, turbo-boosting evolutionary progress, and in turn making Earth life actually alien life.
Nice.
I'm not done. Cool. Trivia time. There's number 2, trivia time.
Two trivia times in one episode? What is this?
Okay, hold on to your hat, D. Jets of organic molecules and molecular oxygen were found emerging from comet 67P CG. That's the one that we landed on recently with the Rosetta mission.
Okay.
The content of the gas analysed by the Rosetta orbiter revealed values that are consistent with degradation of bacteria. So you can see a picture of it basically jetting out all this like organic, molecules in just like a vapor. And it's similar to what you would get if bacteria had been breaking down.
There's just comets running around space, vaping out life.
Yeah, just proper ripping fat cotton and just like organic molecules. So in fact, the recent discovery that Comet Lovejoy emits ethyl alcohol accounting to about 500 bottles of wine per second could indicate that there are fermenting bacteria within the comet.
So that's the comet I go to if I want a bev, yeah?
Yeah, you just open your mouth. 500 bottles of wine every second. Just getting absolutely trashed.
Wow.
Alternatively, more than 20% of the carbon in the universe may be associated with polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs. So this was the alternative that basically it's not necessarily that life evolved somewhere and then it's gone to everywhere else.
Yeah.
20% of the entire content, carbon content of the universe could be associated with these organic molecules. So they're complex organic, carbon molecules, and they may act as a precursor to life because they've got these complex, large structures, and even sometimes hundreds of atoms, in the molecule.
Yeah.
So in September 2012, NASA scientists reported results of studies where PAHs subjected to conditions like the ones found in the interstellar medium, so just in between stars, are transformed through hydrogenation, oxygenation, and hydroxylation to more complex organics, taking them a step along the path towards amino acids and nucleotides, the raw materials for proteins and DNA. So we're talking 20% of all the carbon in the entire universe can, in just interstellar space, be hit with the radiation and other particles and stuff, and basically turn into the building blocks for amino acids and DNA.
That's absolutely fascinating.
So that would mean that it's just happening all over the place. So panspermia starts to sound a little bit more convincing when it's not.
Yeah.
How could this life could have flown from another planet and landed here? It's no, it's floating around everywhere at all times.
That is just there, yeah.
It's landing, and wherever is good for it to grow, it will start growing.
Absolutely fascinating.
So I really like doing some extra reading for that trivia time because it led me to this picture, and it's absolutely phenomenal. So take a look at this fantastic image of the Cat's Paw Nebula in the Milky Way. Green areas show regions where radiation from hot stars collided with polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, causing them to fluoresce. It's beautiful, and this may be where life is created.
Wow.
Just wow. But enough about panspermia. What about octopuses? Surprise attack trivia time! It's the third one. Yes.
In one episode.
Yes, the trivia time. It is octopuses. It's not octopi.
Right. See, that's actually really good to know. That's handy.
That is my trivia time. It's if a word has its origin in Latin, then you can basically slap an I on the end to make it a plural. But octopus has its roots in Greek, so it's octopuses. In Greek, there are either polypus or octopus, meaning many-footed and eight-footed respectively. So now you know for sure. Correct your friends, be the life of the party. But I digress.
Quite like that one, actually.
Steele et al. Explain how the genes responsible for octopus's large brain, sophisticated nervous system, camera-like eyes, flexible bodies, instantaneous camouflage via colour switching and shape-shifting come from the common cephalopod ancestor, the nautilus, and subsequently passed to the cuttlefish, then to the squid, to the octopus. And they're not easily found in any pre-existing life form before this lineage.
Oh.
So they argue that it's plausible that these genes are borrowed from something else, something more evolved than anything that existed when the octopuses arose 270 million years ago. Perhaps they didn't arise, but arrived.
Ooh, that's cool.
Also, there's evidence showing that mechanisms in the octopoidal genome don't seem to match with our ingrained Darwinian evolutionary model. So the whole, you just inherit things, natural selection, all that. Basically, octopuses have sites in their DNA that lead to massive changes in their genome. Effectively, the extent of wildly changing RNA action inside them would kill the organism. So, oops, I've made insulin, but it's not the right shape. I will die now because my insulin doesn't work. So having like crazy like changing DNA, like amino acids being flipped out and stuff, would kill you if you were to slowly get, right, one amino acid changes there, you would die. You get one amino acid change in here. How are you going to survive all these changes to be able to have so many sites in your DNA where it just flips out and changes all the time? So, basically, you find these modification sites in nearly every protein coding sequence in octopuses. So could it be that these mechanisms arrived intact, having already been evolved elsewhere, and they just got incorporated into cephalopods?
I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it?
And it means that from that, they just evolved really quickly, because 270 million years to complete evolution of a brain which has a completely different basis than the ones that we have. Completely different design to their brain. Like, they have nerves. Basically, their entire body is thinking. So they have nerves for, like, every arm. And the reason why they have these weird, like, suckers that grab onto things and, like, move on their own is because their arms are thinking for themselves. But they have a centralized brain as well to like, think and control the entire body. But
that is absolutely wild.
Yeah, they have a localized brain, but their entire body is filled with, like, brain, basically.
So they have, like, big brain, which is, like, main brain.
Main brain.
And then there's, like, a brain for each tentacle? Or just, a brain spread through the entire body?
It's kind of like 60% brain up here, and then, like, the 40% is smeared out, like, spread over, like, bread, basically. Just spreading that brain.
Okay.
Brain spread. So the main takeaway message, if you didn't understand most of that, and I didn't, so this takeaway message is probably BS, is that octopuses are evolving faster than we are. So they have a completely different brain structure.
Sounds plausible.
Hopefully, they're probably peaceful, I hope. So when we all die from our war or famine or whatever, little octopeople might take over and be better than us. Well, I wish our eight-legged successors the best of luck.
I, for one, welcome our new overlords.
So, we both did Seacrits.
We both did. You'd made the pun.
We didn't even, like, we didn't even coordinate on...
We didn't. I do love it when that happens. We've had it a couple times where we've not coordinated on you know, who's bringing what to the table, and then we actually somehow derive a theme from it, and I think that's good.
Yeah, we're so in sync.
Yeah, and... I
Crabs,
suppose
octopus.
Yeah. So I suppose shimmying on to our next and newest little segment. I don't have a name for this yet. Wholesome minutes. I don't know.
Wholesome minutes.
Wholesome minutes.
Wholesome minutes.
So we thought it might be cool, just to, you know, towards the end of the podcast, to wind down a little. We'll just talk about, you know, a thing we like each, and, you know, share that with you guys watching and listening.
We'll just chat.
Yeah.
Just chatting for a little bit. It always feels like we just go ham, and then we don't wind down, we just kind of go straight for the finish.
Yeah.
So let's just talk for a bit.
So I know I'm not sure about you or what you've been up to this week, but I know one thing I've been really enjoying that I mentioned earlier is I bought a new chair.
Oh, and I sat in this chair. Now, it sounds like a boring thing, like, you know, my chairs are in it.
I was like, do I mention the chair? I'm like, you know what, I'm going to mention the chair because that proper lumbar support is actually fixing my back and saving my life.
It's really making me consider changing my chair. Right, about 5 years ago, I bought a chair and I really just went for the basic.
Yeah.
Like, I went on eBay, it was like 40 quid.
Standard chair.
It's like a real nice looking chair, but it's just so janky, falling apart. Like all the leather's cracked and the padding's just gone flat and it hurts to sit in it and I don't like it.
Well, I went through like a bit of a tale with these chairs. So I moved in to sit at my computer and play some nice video games, which is a good pastime of mine. I'll sit on the edge of my bed. I had to sit on the edge of my bed, hunched over my keyboard at quite a stark angle, a bit like this. And it was
kind of Palpatine, like.
And then eventually I gave in and bought just a standard folding chair, which was comfortable. And I wasn't in constant, pretty bad agony from my back.
Exquisite agony.
Exquisite agony.
Crucial pain.
And then I ordered this new thing that was just a flat pack. It came within the day of me ordering it because, yep.
You can just get anything on the internet.
God, it was excellent. I cannot describe the feeling of a good chair. Apparently that's what I was bringing to this segment of the show.
I have terrible posture. And I sat in that chair and it just corrected me.
Right?
Who needs to go to an orthopedic... What is it? No. Chiropractor.
Chiropractor.
You got this
The
chair?
bone one.
The bone one.
Chiropractors are the bone ones, right?
The bone ones. Hello, yes, GP. I need to make an appointment with the bone ones. Take me to Skeleton Lake.
But yeah, that was my thing that I've enjoyed this week. So what have you got?
I took the plunge. Like, to be honest, I haven't bought video games for a while because they cost.
They cost money.
I'm trying to save up for a holiday. I'm trying to like pay off my debt. I've been doing stuff like getting some new clothes, getting some new shoes.
Yeah.
Just like the things that I need. And video games just seem a little bit like, maybe not worth my my money. But I have got, a few ones here and there, and I've been playing Skyrim a lot, so I like that. And then I thought, you know what? I've really had my eye on this game for a while. It's called Control.
Oh!
So I bought Control.
I need you to tell me how this is, because I have been looking at Control since a couple of trailers came out, and it looks awesome.
I have been enjoying it a lot so far. I'm only, say, about an hour in, but the atmosphere is just on point. So it'll do stuff like, I'll just walk through here, that I can hear like some weird chanting going on. There's a janitor and he's like talking all cryptic and then he like turns away. I go past him and then as I walk out the other end of the room, I'm at the doorway where I walked in and I'm like, wait, no. And then I like ran back and there was no door. Oh. And I was like, well, okay, the room just shifted around. And then all these crazy imagery, like it's all very white, stark, flat edges and stuff,
like almost modern design.
And then you'll walk up to a door, it'll open and it's like red in the next room.
Wow.
And there's just people floating in midair chanting and you're just like, oh, okay, I'll just walk over here. And then you'll like hear a noise, there'll be a warp in space-time and these guys will drop down and start coming towards you.
See, I'd watched a couple of reviews, but nothing quite as good as that. You maybe really want to pick up the game now.
Seriously, just come over and I'll
definitely. I'll have to give it a go because that
sounds spooky video game night.
That sounds excellent.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far,
nice.
And so many collectibles. The collectibles are basically SCPs.
Yes,
so
this is good.
It goes, this thing, obviously be careful with it. This is the containment procedure.
Yeah.
If you encounter it, make sure you do this and refer to this person. And then it just like gives you like a sheet of like what it does, what you should watch out for, containment procedure. I love that. Yeah.
Well,
fantastic.
Because I remember hearing a lot of people saying that it felt like a bit of a homage to the whole SCP, side of media and that whole thing. Do you think that holds up as a statement? Or?
Yeah, definitely. So my friend was like, you could probably think about it as the thing that's kicked off all the storyline. Basically, something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
Some malevolent presence has entered the building.
Ooh.
And that's why people are floating and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
If you just thought of that as one of the SCPs that's broken out of containment, it's basically an SCP game.
Wow, it sounds really interesting.
I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
I like it.
Well then, you've had a right massive medley of content there, folks. It was meant to be another grab bag, but I'm going to go ahead and say we had a nautical theme because I think we talked about the Seacrits.
Nautical.
There you go. I did it. I said the pun. You're happy now?
If nautical nonsense be something you wish, then get on this podcast. It's great to listen to.
Don't forget about our new initiative, folks. Introduce the podcast to anyone you think might enjoy it. Let us know yours and all their names on the YouTube. Our email is at phenomenautspodcast@gmail.com. And we'll give you a shout out live on air. Catch you all next week, folks. Peace out.
Bye. Oh man, did you notice that? The bloody camera died.
The camera died?
Yeah, it died.
Wow.
Oh, it did run out of battery.
Oh no.
I was singing that camera's praises before.
Oh dear.
You know what we'll do? It's going to be very clever. No one will notice. I'll recycle some footage from... Just recycle. An eagle-eyed viewer may have noticed that what we're saying is not syncing up with what's happening on the screen.
That is actually going to be excellent. Please edit that in and just put the text over the top. What happened?
Camera died, so enjoy last week's ending.
Camera died, so we just looped the last few minutes so you didn't have to stare at a blank screen.
To be honest, I don't think anyone noticed it, but we've mentioned it now. And in fairness, the people who aren't watching YouTube, it meant nothing. Well,
they might
that's
have
just
heard
a little
the camera
bit
click.
Behind the scenes for you there.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen on Spotify.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
I want to go and play this game.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
Control. Programming control, man. They think it's a fun game, but it's not. It's a nightmare world. And the worst thing is, it's real and we live in it.
Oh, pop culture reference.